right. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for the Youth Homelessness Development Project Notice of Funding Opportunity local competition for King County. This is an information session, and today is June 22nd, 2026. Today we will review the Notice of Funding Opportunity overview and timeline specifically for the entire process. We'll then go over YHDP priorities, the timeline specifically for the local competition and RFP, go over eligible project types and orgs, funding, program requirements, review process, submission instructions, and then Q&A. Before moving on further, I want to introduce myself and then my colleagues here today. My name is Eli Griffin, and I am the Interim Procurement Manager here at KCRHA. And then I will pass it over to Kelsey.
Good afternoon, everyone. Kelsey Beckmeyer. I'm the COC Manager with KCRHA. I will send it over to Joe.
Thanks, everybody. My name is Jo Bechtold. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm also on the procurement team as a procurement specialist. And I'll pass it back to Eli.
All right, thank you. And I'm going to pass it over to Kelsey for this portion of the presentation.
Thanks, Eli. So first, want to make a very clear note. There are currently 2 notice of funding opportunities available at this moment in time. We have the Youth Notice of Funding Opportunity, which is our YHDP NOFO that we are talking about right now. And we have the COC Notice of Funding Opportunity happening right now. These are distinct and different opportunities. If you are a current recipient of YHDP funds, you need to still be renewing and engaging in the COC Notice of Funding Opportunity process. Even if this is to change a current application, a current project, that is all through the COC NOFO that is happening. There are also bonus opportunities in the COC NOFO for new projects. Those include projects serving youth. You can also apply for the YHDP Youth NOFO for new projects. The difference is that the opportunity for the Youth Homelessness Demonstration Program NOFO is strictly for youth and youth-serving organizations to be applying for new projects. There are similarities, but applying through the YHDP NOFO is for YHDP specific funding. And that includes the ability to apply for special activities that are allowed with YHDP funds that are not allowed in the COC new project process. So please read both RFPs really carefully to determine if you are serving youth and you currently have YHDP funds and you want to apply for new projects for youth. Carefully review the 2 notice of funding opportunities right now to see what makes the most sense for the projects that you are seeking new funding for. This opportunity is concurrent with the other NOFO opportunity. We know it's really busy. We know there's a lot to do. These funds were announced a week and a half ago by HUD. And everything is due to HUD by August 10th. So again, this is another very fast timeline. We've got mid-June to mid-August. So all the applications for the local competition will be due on July 10th. This gives us enough time for the rating and reviewing of applications and to complete all of the required materials in eSnaps and to submit the overall YHDP application. HUD will announce all of the funds for this competition by, they have stated, September of 2026. And the awards should begin, per HUD's announcement, October of 2026. There is a match requirement on these funds. However, you will see in the request for proposals, there is the opportunity to seek a match exemption should you meet specific criteria. So under the special activities is the match exemption. Please read that carefully and provide the necessary information if you are seeking that match exemption. Again, an overview of our timeline. This was all released on June 10th, and it is due to HUD on August 10th. So we are asking for applications to be submitted by July 10th. So there is time to do a rating and review, inform all applicants, and complete all of the necessary materials to get this into HUD by August 10th of 2026. HUD again will be announcing this in September with performance periods aimed to begin October 26th at the earliest. The YHDP RFP has particular priorities that HUD is calling out in their Notice of Funding Opportunity announcement. Those include preventing and ending homelessness. Projects should aim to really be wanting to make youth homelessness rare, brief, and non-recurring. An aim to support the facilitation of self-sufficiency for youth, connecting things such as to education, employment, behavioral health support. They want to look at potentially piloting new models of assistance. So within the project types that are allowed, thinking about different services and things that could be done in new ways to approach and support young people experiencing homelessness. Finally, there's a focus on reducing trauma and increasing safety, really wanting to ensure that projects are using a trauma-informed response for youth who are at particular risk of trafficking, abuse, substance use, and really supporting access to safe housing and safe community conditions. Further priorities that are specifically aimed at the projects and what we want to see in projects applying for funds. We want to see things focusing on positive youth development and trauma-informed care, connecting young people to safe and stable housing, improving connections and supports for social and emotional well-being, so looking at kind of holistic person care. Improving connections to long-term self-sufficiency, so big emphasis on education and employment. And then finally looking at really creating lasting permanent connections in young people's lives, permanent connections within their community, and kind of social circle, social supports. Examples of projects that may be eligible for funding include housing navigation, behavioral health services in transitional housing or standalone programs, outreach services, and recovery-oriented housing.
All right, thank you, Kelsey. The timeline listed here is specific for the RFP, although some of these have already been mentioned. So we released the RFP on June 18th. We are hosting 2 information sessions for this opportunity. We're hosting one today, June 22nd, and then we will have a second one on June 26th at 3 p.m. The last day to submit questions is July 2nd by 5 p.m. After that, we cannot answer any questions specific to the funding opportunity. The application deadline, as mentioned, is July 10th by 11:59 p.m. And then we expect to send out approval and denial notices the week of July 27th. This approval notice is that we are sending this to HUD as part of the application. We expect HUD to then announce awards. So getting an approval from us does not necessarily mean an award. It is not confirmed until HUD announces that in September. And then contract development is expected to begin in October of this year. Project types that are eligible include transitional housing, supportive services only, coordinated entry, and HMIS expansion. But please note, HMIS is limited to designated HMIS lead only. Eligible organizations include nonprofit, faith-based, and government organizations, as well as tribes and tribal organizations. And then the funding, the anticipated amount available to our region is $6,908,226. However, this is an estimate. HUD has not yet announced the final available amount, so this is subject to change. And these funds will be available through calendar years 2026 through 2028. Eligible costs are dependent on the project type. So for transitional housing, leasing, supportive services, operating, HMIS, and project administration are eligible. For supportive services only, leasing, supportive services, HMIS, and project administration are eligible. Coordinated entry has supportive services, HMIS, and project administration eligible. And then lastly, HMIS has HMIS and project administration, project administration as eligible costs. Rehabilitation, new construction, equipment greater than $5,000 per item, capital repairs, and acquisition are all ineligible costs for all project types. All projects must meet eligibility thresholds and project threshold minimums outlined in the RFP. So please review that in detail. Organizations must meet eligibility requirements and submit the required documentation. And we'll go through that in just a quick second. Also, all projects must participate in the Homelessness Management Information System, or HMIS. New project applications will be reviewed in 4 sections. That includes due diligence and financial review, a project threshold review, then rating, and then a ranking process. Due diligence will include KCRHA's minimum eligibility requirements, which we will review in the next slide. Also includes submission of a conflict of interest certification and disclosure, and then a code of conduct letter. Financial review will include current fiscal year's financial statements, including balance sheet, income statement, and statement of cash flows, their most recent audit reports with the letter from auditor, and, if applicable, agency plan for correction, the most recent fiscal year ending Form 990, and then proof of federally approved indirect rate, if applicable. I understand this chart can be very hard to see, so please review the minimum eligibility requirements in detail. All applicants must provide one of the minimum eligibility requirement at the top, including they must be incorporated as a Washington State private nonprofit and provide certificate of incorporation, or be a federally or Washington State recognized tribe and provide federal or state registry listing, or be a public corporation or other legal entity and provide authorizing documents. The remaining requirements are required for all organizations. So applicant must be in good standing 12 months before date of application and provide their certificate of existence. They must have a federal tax ID number and submit their employer identification number confirmation from the IRS. They must have a Washington State business license and, if applicable, a Seattle business license and submit copies of those licenses. And they must not be presently debarred or suspended and submit a certificate of non-debarment, and then have an active system for award management registration and an active unique entity ID number, and submit proof of those numbers. All applications will go through a project threshold review. So the YHDP NOFO requires that any new projects meet eligibility and project quality thresholds to be funded with COC funds. This is a requirement of the YHDP NOFO, and so we have placed it within our RFP. Applicants who do not affirmatively answer yes to all project eligibility questions may risk funding eligibility, excluding those currently enjoined, and you will see those have been crossed out of the RFP. Applicants must meet minimum thresholds for the questions in the project category type that they are applying for. The applicant pool will be reviewed by a rating panel of community members and subject matter experts, and the rating panel will recommend applications to be submitted to HUD for potential funding, and applications will be scored out of a total of 128 points. For the topic area of addressing system gaps, there is a maximum amount of 5 points. Demonstration of experience operating proposed services has a maximum of 10 points. Staffing qualifications and staffing needs has 5 points. Service approach and methodology, 5. Positive youth development, 10. Safe and stable housing, 10. And social and emotional well-being, 10. Education or employment has a maximum amount of 10 points. Substance use services, 10 points. Permanent connection, 10 points. HMIS and data management, 5. Fiscal management, 5. Budget justification, 5. Match requirement, 5 points. And then for the topic area of program component priority, it has a maximum of 3 points. Program population priority, 3 points. Supportive service participation, 2 points. Housing partnerships and coordination, 6 points. Coordination with mainstream resources, 5 points. And then finally, demonstration of commitment to include youth with lived experience has a maximum amount of 5 points. There will then be a panel-led ranking process. So once projects are rated, they are then ranked using HUD priorities and local goals. These include community and coordination. So looking for projects that are deeply partnered, integrate services across systems, and include clear referral pathways and coordination. They include supportive services and self-sufficiency, including strong wraparound supportive services. There's coverage of specific subpopulations, so including pregnant and parenting youth, domestic violence survivors, youth with substance use disorder histories, youth with trafficking histories, and youth exiting foster care or justice systems. And then finally, system gaps. So addressing documented unmet needs, expand capacity where data shows gaps, and then introduce new or improved interventions. All applications must submit application materials via Smartsheet. Please fill out the Smartsheet form that is in place of a cover sheet. Submit the filled out project application and submit COC budget template. Please carefully review the required attachments in the RFP to ensure you submit a complete application. Some of the questions do require documentation or proof. All materials are available at our Funding Opportunities webpage. And if you experience any technical issues, please contact rfp@kcrha.org. We can respond to technical issues after the last date of questions. So if you're experiencing a glitch of some sort, we can respond. For more information, please review our funding opportunity webpage and look at the COC Youth Homelessness Demonstration tab. This is where we will post any updates, so please review that frequently. We will be posting a Q&A document on that tab that will include a link to this slide deck, a link to a recording of this presentation, and then responses to all submitted questions, whether through an information session or via email. If you have a question, I highly suggest looking at the Q&A document first, as we will have likely answered it. And so you may get that question a lot faster than emailing us. We do try to respond within 24 hours, though. And then finally, please email the RFP email address if you would like to be added to our procurement listserv. All right, and with that, we will then turn this over to questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand or submit it in the chat.
Alicia, yes.
Yes. Excuse me. My name is Alicia. I'm with Love Taps Crew. Um, I have a question. I am a new nonprofit, and so we're seeking funding. I had a question about the HMIS and data management. Is there a preferred system that you all prefer? Unfortunately, that's something I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, so our HMIS system is operated with BitFocus. That is the system for the Seattle County COC and is a required system to participate in with federal funding. We can put some of the information in the Q&A document around what HMIS is, how to get connected to it, so you can have access to all of that information.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course. Rachel?
Hi, Kelsey. Hi, Eli. First of all, thank you so much. I know that we are in quite a time right now, and I just really appreciate all of the detailed information you've provided. I'm curious about, because we're looking at such a close overlap in timeline between the COC NOFO and the YHDP NOFO, I've taken a look at both of them. We have a couple of new projects that I think could work in either funding source. And so I'm wondering if there's anything precluding programs from applying to both, um, just to sort of see which one shakes out, if that makes sense.
Eli, from a procurement standpoint, anything that you would want to weigh in here?
It's a really good question, and we'll respond to the Q&A. That is a very good question, and I don't have a response just yet, so we will get that out to you.
Thank you.
Other questions? If anything comes to mind, again, you can submit that to us via email. We are checking both the RFP at kcrha.org as well as the coc.questions at kcrha.org. We are going to be taking and responding to questions through July 2nd. We will also be posting the updated Q&A document. Our aim is to post an update once a day as we get questions in. So if things come to you, please send them our way.
I have some questions, but as you know, I'm not an organization applying. I'm just trying to get a better understanding. Should I schedule some time to ask those questions, or can I just ask them here?
If it's not related specifically to this RFP, let's set some time for our internal larger process. this is strictly about the local competition RFP.
Yeah, the question I have about that is, as I'm trying to better understand what to expect, is it says like no rental assistance programs, but I'm curious about things like diversion that offer one-time rental assistance, but isn't technically rental assistance.
From my understanding of the allowed projects, that's not an eligible cost category for the projects that are stipulated in the RFP. With YHDP, they frame things in ways that allow for some like innovative practices. Because of the limited project scopes allowed, how to go about that is unclear. That can be a question that we submit to HUD for clarification. But that on its face does not appear to be eligible.
Thank you.
All right. I'm not seeing any other questions at this time. Just a quick plug. There will be another information session on June 26th at 3 o'clock. So if you have any other questions that come up in between that time, feel free to attend or email rfp@kcrj.org. Last day to submit questions is July 2nd by 5 o'clock. All right. And with that, thank you all for attending. Really appreciate your time. And I'm going to close out this information session.
Thank you.